What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. As we brace for Spider-Man Far From Home's release this weekend in the US, it has the inordinate job of wrapping up the entirety of the first three phases, explaining what's going on with those snapped and who weren't, and hopefully placing an enormous bookend on these first 23 films. Now, not seemingly beholden to the same sense of finality that Avengers Endgame would imply just by the title itself, Spider-Man Far From Home was free to sow new Easter eggs, not just for his own place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but hopefully for the Avengers, as they are the main franchise of the studios. And while the movie was pretty much absent of any of that, the post-credit scenes went a long way in giving us our very first Avengers 5 Easter egg. We're going to break down exactly what happened now as confirmed by the movie's release, and what this Spider-Man Far From Home Easter egg means in context, not only for the Avengers 5 title, but probable plotline. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel-related stuff, including tickets to go see Spider-Man Far From Home in IMAX all this week. We'll also be announcing a new winner of those IMAX tickets at the end of this video. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on the video, and if you want, like I said, stick around to the end of the video. I'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there, including the newest IMAX ticket winner. So even though I was going to wait and post this video till tomorrow, officially the embargo for all the spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home doesn't come up until Friday, I'm going to go ahead and issue the light spoiler warning. If this in any way is going to ruin your Spider-Man Far From Home experience, it would be hard for me to believe that, given A, you clicked on this video, and B, the post-credit scenes have been talked about since early last week. But either way, if this is going to ruin it for you, go ahead and back out now, because we will be discussing light details from the post-credit scene and spoilers for the movie. Speaking of spoilers for the movie, the Skrulls made their reappearance, and like I said, we've been talking about this since early last week, that Maria Hill and Nick Fury turn out to be Skrulls the entire time, but not in a bad way, but rather they were working with Nick Fury, and they call him to let him know that, hey, things got out of hand, people wanted to know where the Avengers were, and pretty much you've got to come back. Now, it looks like Nick Fury's on vacation somewhere in a beach, but really, this is all a cybernetic 3D virtual reality. He walks out of a pod, stretches, and asks people where his shoes are in what looks like some sort of huge space base. Now, Marvel Studios and Sony are banking on the fact you're going to be so shocked that Talos and his wife were posing as Maria Hill and Nick Fury for the entirety of the film, you're not going to get the brevity of the rest of the scene. And to be honest, it's actually an allegory for the Skrulls themselves, not because the huge twist was a subversion of expectation, you thought you were watching the original Nick Fury for the whole movie, but rather in them presenting the scene on face value to be one thing, oh, it's a huge twist, but when actually all of the words and the pictures painted a much deeper scene, a clearer picture of Phase 4 and what's to come with the growth of S.H.I.E.L.D. now into this new agency and Avengers 5. Now, first things first, what you think is the most obvious takeaway in that, oh, the Skrulls are working with S.H.I.E.L.D. or what's ever become of S.H.I.E.L.D. into this new agency side by side with Nick Fury nonetheless, is actually much deeper. Think about this. This movie actually took place moments or just days after the conclusion of Avengers Endgame. If there was already a protocol in place for Talos and his wife or any of the other Skrulls to impersonate S.H.I.E.L.D. agents at their behest so that they can go on vacation, then it's probable that they've been doing this for quite a long time. It's also probable that Nick Fury would have used this protocol even more than once during what we know as the first 3 phases of the Infinity Saga, given his efficacy and how long they would have been on the scene had he started trusting them immediately or even after a couple of years. It's a really handy thing to be able to be in 2 places at once when you have someone who can turn into you. Also, it's pretty worth mentioning in a quick but important side note that we're never shown the name of this base, but can probably guess that it's SWORD, that stands for Sentient World Observation Response Department. It's up in Earth's outer atmosphere. It's a counterintelligence agency just like S.H.I.E.L.D. with the sole purpose of dealing with extraterrestrial threats to world security. Now, it's not exactly clear where SWORD was and what stage of development it was during the initial invasion in Infinity War, and how if it wasn't there for that, it could have somehow been put together and put out in the atmosphere since the return of everybody in only 2 weeks, or like I said, a couple of days when Spider-Man Far From Home takes place. But maybe they were in deep development and were able to launch it while Spider-Man Far From Home is taking place as a movie, and this is its earliest launch. Either way, the Skrulls are officially back on the scene and working side by side with Nick Fury in whatever agency this is, and presumably on our side for now. Now, obviously, this goes even deeper because the Russos have said they would love to return for a secret invasion, and now that the Skrulls are back on the scene, not just present in the MCU in the early 90s, but here at the end of the Infinity Saga as we go into Phase 4, then you have the first and most crucial piece you need in order for secret invasion to happen. The second deepest layer of this is that not only are the Skrulls back present on the scene, but they're involved and intertwined with some of our highest levels of government. Now, speaking of which, if Nick Fury was the man on Earth, the guy who knew what was going on in every direction, but then had also secretly been working with the Skrulls in any capacity over the last 3 phases, then his knowledge of what's going on in the interstellar picture, his purview gets much, much bigger than just being the man here on Earth. That also means that things like alien technology and even the invasion that took place in New York wouldn't have been that foreign to him given what took place in Captain Marvel and what he now knows about alien races. This also leads to the really tricky Pandora's box of, was there ever a Skrull Nick Fury before? See, if this protocol existed, if it wasn't something they had just thought of since the unsnap or the resnap or the resnapping, however you want to call it, then this means he's been doing it for quite a while, and at any point that Marvel decides they want to retcon something that happened during Age of Ultron, something that happened way before that in Winter Soldier, or even in the early Iron Man movies, they can do it and say, well, that's because so-and-so was actually a Skrull. This gets really tricky. What I'm hoping that Marvel Studios is going to do is keep the integrity of the story that we already know and not drop any huge bombs on us like that. Make up a reason why they didn't need to use this protocol or why it didn't come into play, but there's an even deeper implication here and what it means for Avengers 5. Now, obviously, the Russos saying they'd love to come back for a secret invasion doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but they, of course, have an amazing relationship with Marvel, and the conversations with all the executive producers, and especially Kevin Feige, have definitely happened at this point. Come on, these guys have been involved in being the biggest architects in the MCU, starting with Winter Soldier. They've had their hand on everything, and it would be a shame if they didn't have at least a little control and a little input in what's going to come in the future, seeing as they built that future. If Secret Invasion is truly to go down as Avengers 5's title, which a lot of us are assuming it's one of the leading contenders to do so, then that means the Skrulls are going to play a huge role in the next phase. And when we finally see the Avengers again, I think it's probably going to be a scenario where the Skrulls have just gotten too out of control with who they started to pose as. Remember, just because we have a couple of Skrulls that are on our side, or a whole section or group of Skrulls that are on our side, doesn't mean the race as a whole will be, and it's ultra tricky if we somehow lose the ability to detect who is who in which scenario. Now, of course, I would think they would also have a protocol for that when dealing with shapeshifters. It seems logical that they would be able to tell immediately, and it seemed that there were some discrepancies with the Skrulls' power sets in the MCU. They didn't go a long way in detailing all of that and how it works specifically, but in the comics, what made the Skrulls such a formidable opponent and actually made it tricky to tell who was who, where they were able to assume the important and most recent memories of whomever they were shapeshifting into, which means simple interrogation and or the asking of questions and verifying of facts or events was not enough to tell again who was who. They couldn't always use the power sets exactly of the superheroes, and that was a dead giveaway. They're going to have to raise the ante a little bit in the MCU. If simple memories and interrogation, asking someone a code word, is going to be enough to blow cover, then it's not that big of a threat when people are shapeshifting. Like I said, they're going to have to up the ante, and it's probable that they're going to do so. There's actually a couple of variations on the Skrull. Some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about as it pertains to a specific Fantastic Four villain. They could implement that onto many members of the Skrull race, up the ante severely, and then make this invasion, secret invasion rather, for Avengers 5 actually take place and have stakes. That, of course, is a long way off, but if it's going to be, if the Skrulls are going to play this prominent role in Phase 4 leading up to an Avengers 5 secret invasion, then that means there's a lot of work to do, a lot of groundwork to lay for the type of betrayal and infiltration that's going to take place in the United States of America, specifically as it pertains to the Avengers headquarters, but really worldwide. And I also would like to mention that this Captain America Falcon TV show could easily serve as an excellent place place to start laying that groundwork, as we're sure to see a lot of Falcon's interaction with the American government, where he was on the side of Captain America, who's still a war criminal at the time of Infinity War, and I think would serve as an excellent place to start planting the seeds for what's to come with the Skrulls and how much they're involved with our American government and agencies and such. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments about how deep this goes. Is this the biggest Avengers Endgame post-credit scene we could have hoped for actually attached to Spider-Man Far From Home instead of Endgame? How hype are you for the Skrulls and perhaps Secret Invasion as the next Avengers installment? And quickly, before I let you go, let's get into giveaway stuff, including the next winner. Okay, the next winner for the IMAX Spider-Man Far From Home tickets is the nerd who loves entertainment, GMJ. For this comment, I hope Storm and Namor make an appearance in Black Panther 2. Does anyone else agree? Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. I will take Storm as fast as they want to give it to us in the MCU. Guys, we are still giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, one at the 500,000 subscriber mark. We should hit that in about 2 or 3 months. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, make sure to like and comment on the videos, hit the notification bell to help you do that, and that will be coming in the next coming months. We're also giving away another PlayStation 4 Pro over on my Spotify account, Allfires. It's free and easy to enter that one. All you have to do, hit the link down in the description in the comments below. If you have a Spotify account, great. If you don't, it's free to make one. All you need is an email. Follow my account, Allfire, stream the song, screenshot that, then send the screenshot to everythingalwaysYT@gmail.com. Far fewer people are going to do this than sub here at the channel. We're almost there with the 10,000 subs or followers, whatever you want to call them, over on that account. And as soon as we do, we'll be announcing that winner over here on the channel. All you have to do, again, is screenshot it and mail it in. If you want to win any of the stuff here at the channel, the tickets to go see Spider-Man Far From Home in IMAX, any of the other stuff, including the PlayStations or the hot toys we're going to be announcing here during the summer, and Infinity Gauntlet to boot, all you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell. Leave a like and a comment on this video, and the more videos that you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. My name is Michael Roman. This is Everything Always. Guys, thanks for checking out the channel, and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.